I've always been so inspired by entrepreneurs. People like my mom. Who, as a single parent, created a preschool in our house. It was called the Unicorn School. So she could make money and take care of me at the same time. Later, she wanted to provide more, so she became an agent. One of the few careers that gives the flexibility needed for her to be a working mother. My mom has always been an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is what helped a kid like me, without much money, grow up to create a company that has a once-in-a-generation opportunity to transform one of the world's largest industries. I believe that entrepreneurship is the greatest force for progress our world has ever known. Entrepreneurs drive our economy and our society forward. Think about the inventor who creates literally something from nothing that millions of people use every day and can't imagine living without. Or the immigrant who moves countries in search of a better life. Or the parent who takes on a second job to better take care of her children. Each of these people are bound by the common characteristics of seeing potential where others don't, and creating a path where there isn't one. Now, there are over 2 million agents in this country alone, and every one of them are entrepreneurs. Everyone in Compass is an entrepreneur. Each and every one of you is an entrepreneur. Now, in the last year, I shared 2 important things. First, our mission, to help everyone find their place in the world. Because we know a home is not just a home. It's a neighborhood. It's a community. And it provides a sense of belonging. Then we talked about our 2020 vision. 20% market share in the top 20 cities by 2020. Creating inevitability on our path to building the single platform where all real estate activities take place. And not just the transaction, but mortgage, title, insurance, escrow, move-in services, contractors, inspectors, furniture, one platform, one login. So we have our mission, and we have our vision. But to make our mission and vision a reality, we need to have a common set of core values. So what better to guide us than the greatest behaviors and characteristics, values, principles of the best entrepreneurs. So today, I am excited to share with you the 8 Compass principles of entrepreneurship. If everyone in this room and everyone watching across the country lives these principles, I promise you, we will achieve our mission and will exceed our vision. So with that, our first principle, dream big. So every night when I go to sleep, I dream about the future. It's literally what I do to calm my mind. And so next year, things are going to be so great because I Compass, and I fall asleep. My earliest memories as a child were seeing my mom tuck me into bed at night. And she never said, have sweet dreams. She said, have big dreams. And I've been dreaming big my entire life. And I've always been so inspired by those that dream big. People like J.K. Rowling. She was on welfare as a single parent, struggling to put food on her family's table. And she could have easily given up her dreams of being a writer. But 500 million Harry Potter books later, We're sure glad that she didn't. Or Elon Musk. He sold his company PayPal, could have easily retired. But no, he started dreaming bigger. About creating Tesla to help save the earth, to get us off of fossil fuels and onto sustainable energy. But just in case he failed, he created SpaceX, a spaceship company to help save humanity. That's a big dream. As entrepreneurs, we refuse to think small, and we don't let anyone or anything prevent us from pursuing our dreams. We're all on an entrepreneurial journey. Whether you're a student who's first in your family to go to college, whether you're an athlete that puts in 110% in training, or whether you've applied for a small business loan. I know that each and every one of you are capable of even more than you think. That your ambition is the cap to your potential. That you're never going to do more than your dreams. And so I'm asking you to embrace this first principle and dream big. The next principle is move fast. Now you have to know as an entrepreneur, if you don't move fast, someone else will. How many of you remember the e-commerce company was doing great, but was just a little slower than Amazon? How many of you remember the swimmer that came in second place to Michael Phelps? I don't. Rare opportunities are just that, they're rare. And if you move slow, you're gonna miss them. Speed matters to everyone. You're never gonna find a customer who wants a slower response to a question. Or a client who wants their problem solved just any time later, that's fine. Time kills deals. Time kills opportunity. The only people that want you to move slow, the only people that want us to move slow, are our competitors. The future belongs to the entrepreneurs and to the companies that move fast. The next principle is learn from reality. Now, great entrepreneurs love to learn from their customers. So take a restaurant owner who's talking to the regulars, or a mayor who's reading her mail from her constituents every day. Or it could be a teacher saying, what's going on at home. I'm from San Francisco, and when I was in high school, I had a big dream. I was going to be the best DJ in the San Francisco Bay Area. And so I took all my savings from babysitting, and I moved fast before my mom could tell me not to. And I bought a bunch of DJ equipment. Now, I never ended up being the most skilled DJ per se, and I never had the best equipment. I couldn't afford it. But within 2 years, I became the most utilized DJ in the San Francisco Bay Area high school system. And I was able to make enough money to help pay for part of college. Now, the secret to my success was that I learned from reality. Here's what I mean. Most DJs, they would play the music they wanted to hear, the music they liked. You could have people, walk to the DJ booth, 5 people, and say, hey, we want this new song, and they wouldn't play it. They wouldn't listen to the customer right in front of them. I was always the exact opposite. I played whatever they wanted. Because to me, the difference between playing what they wanted and not, listening to the customer or not, was the difference between being invited back or not, between having a full dance floor or a half-empty one. The secret to Compass's success is very similar. Compass is the first company in the history of real estate to really listen to agents and to build for them. Good leaders must be good learners. And by definition, to be a good learner, you have to be a good listener. So always learn from reality. The next principle is be solutions driven. Now, as a company, you have to focus on revenue, you have to focus on profit, strategy as well. But more than any of that, you need to focus on energy, the energy in a company. Some companies have the kinds of people that give you energy, and some have the kinds of people that just suck it out of you. I call them energy vampires. Now, when flow and momentum is everything, you can't have the kind of person in it that says no, because then the flow stops. No is the killer of dreams. No is the killer of great ideas. It's the end of a conversation. As an entrepreneur, you have to believe in that challenges are what make opportunities possible. You have to believe in solutions, in love finding a way, in love making the impossible possible. Always be solutions driven. The next principle is obsess. Obsess about opportunity. I believe you obsess about what you love. I obsess about my daughters because I love them. I obsess about this company because I love it. You're never going to find an entrepreneur that doesn't obsess. Think about Beyonce. She's not going to just go through the motions at a performance. Steph Curry isn't going to skip practice. Or Jeff Bezos at Amazon isn't going to say, hey, Amazon, I declare we're fast enough at shipping. No need to go any faster. 6 hours is good enough. Let's go on to the next problem. That's not going to happen. To build something great, you need to care more than it makes sense to care. And it sounds simple, but the very act of caring can be a competitive advantage. So treat every interaction and every experience as an opportunity to make things better and better and better. And when the average person says, I think they're good enough, get better than that. Obsess about opportunity. The next principle is collaborate without ego. Now, my daughters love Moana. I have watched this movie more times than I'm proud to say in public. And if you want to test me, I could probably sing every song afterwards. I'm not. But when you watch these movies, these Pixar movies, you really think, how do they do it? Time after time after time. Create such amazing movies. I believe it's because they have mastered the art of collaboration. Just look at the credits. Hundreds of people spending 4 to 5 years collaborating. You have animators, storytellers, musicians, voice actors, technologists, all collaborating without an ego. 100% focus on making the best movie possible. Nothing else matters. Now, nobody succeeds alone, whether you're Pixar or anyone else. And so you have to be the kind of person that people want to work with. So every person you interact with should leave that interaction wanting to work with you again. And it's pretty simple. Just ask yourself, what kind of person do you want to work with? And be that person every day. Collaborate without ego. The next principle is maximize your strengths. Now imagine a world, not a company, an entire world where everyone was doing what they were best at and most passionate about all the time. How fulfilling and energizing and exciting would that world be? But instead, we live in a world that is obsessed with our weaknesses and our flaws. I'm too fat. I'm too short. I'm not smart enough. I know that there is greatness in each and every one of you. I believe in you. And I know that the more you're focused on your strengths, the more successful you'll be, the more passionate you'll be, and the happier you'll be. When I was working at McKinsey, the White House, and Goldman Sachs, I was never my authentic self. I was always just trying to be what other people wanted me to be. But that changed when I met my beautiful wife, Benice. And for the first time, I found someone who loved me for exactly who I was. All the good, all the bad, and the flaws. And she taught me to do the same for myself. So now I don't love myself despite my weaknesses. I love my weaknesses because that makes me me. That's who I am. In order for you to be your best self, you have to be your authentic self. You have to know in your heart that your imperfections are part of what make you perfect. The reason I'm so much better now at Compass than all those other companies isn't because I'm working harder. It's not because I'm smarter. It's just because for the first time in my life, I'm not beating myself up every day, focusing on all the things that I'm bad at. I just focus on what I'm great at and what I like doing. And it's fine if I'm not good at something. I'll surround myself with people who are. We live in a world where people are going to bed every night thinking about what they did wrong that day and their weaknesses. I ask you to go to bed every night thinking about what you're doing great, your strengths and your dreams, your big, big dreams. The last principle is bounce back with passion. The true test of an entrepreneur is not how you're doing when things are going great. Anyone can be amazing when they're on the top. It's how energetically and passionately and positively they bounce back from the bottom. Compass was founded 5 years ago. And we set out to transform the way rentals worked in New York City forever. It would never be the same after us. Unfortunately, 6 months after launching, it was absolutely clear this would not work. This business model could not succeed. I had never been more terrified. I got married just 5 months earlier. My wife was pregnant with our first daughter. I convinced 30 of my closest friends and family to invest into the company. And I hired personally 50 people to come leave their companies and join us on our mission. And so I told the team, I said, we have to pivot. To save the company, we have to pivot from rentals to sales. We have to hire top agents and learn from them. And people were infuriated. They lost confidence in me. They said that I wasn't the leader. I didn't have the vision and the strategy to carry out the original plan. They even asked me to quit. I remember walking in the door that night, sitting down at the dinner table with Denise, sharing with her what happened, and just asking her, what should I do? You know what she said? She started by saying, I believe in you, and don't quit. And I really needed that. That was the worst day of my professional career. But then you know what she said? She said to bounce back. And that's exactly what I did. I bounced back with passion. Although a third of the team quit when we pivoted, we did pivot from rentals to sales. We started hiring top agents, listening and learning from them. Every month became better and better and better. And not only did I bounce back, but the entire company bounced back to where it is today. Do you know how many people thought that we would never be where we are today? Just go look at Google News. Put in Compass. And you will see 5 years of people saying, you're going to fail. You're going to go bankrupt. Investors are going to walk. Agents are going to leave. 5 years of negativity. And do you know how much time, just guess how much time I spent thinking about all that? Absolutely zero. Because I'm too busy dreaming big, moving fast, learning from reality, maximizing strengths, obsessing about opportunity, and bouncing back with passion. You have to have the resilience and the grit to turn away the naysayers and to keep on moving forward no matter how much life tries to knock you down to your feet and prevent you from getting back up. Resilience and grit are the defining characteristics of the entrepreneur. It's the difference between someone who's living their dreams and someone who's living with regret. It's the difference between an entrepreneur and someone who just had a good idea once. How many times has someone told you that you can't do something? How many times has someone made you feel like you can't do something? Now, worse than that, how many times have you made yourself feel like you can't do something? I am here to tell you that you can do whatever you want. Now, we're living in a world where we're dealing with some of the biggest challenges our society's ever known. The type of challenges that are going to define a generation. But we have a choice. We can either sit back and live in a world that others are creating, or we can embrace principles like these and create the world that we believe in. A world where there are no barriers between where you are and where you belong. A world full of people that come up with a big dream and move fast on it to make it a reality and come up with a bunch of great solutions they can obsess about and collaborate with. And how, of course, they don't have an ego and they're maximizing all their strengths. If they don't have a strength, they don't care. They'll surround themselves with people that have that strength. And whenever there is negativity of any kind, they just bounce back with passion. A world full of entrepreneurs, the kinds of people that do impossible things every day. And they know that anything is possible. A world full of people that are trying to make themselves better and the lives of those around them better as well. This is the world I believe in. This is the world that I see coming to life when I look around this room. I see it when I travel the country talking with agents and employees in every city. And I see it on the faces around my Shabbat dinner table every Friday night with my wife and my 2 beautiful children who I encourage to dream big just like my mom did for me. And who I encourage to become entrepreneurs one day themselves. I am humbled to be playing a small part in building this world with all of you. We are a company of entrepreneurs, and these are the principles that guide us. Thank you.
Thank you. So, in case you don't recognize me from my really photoshopped pictures, I'm Leonard Steinberg. 2 years ago, my partner Tom and I bought an apartment in the West Village in New York, and we decided, we're going to not take the easy road. We're going to make this apartment shine. So what do? We hired a designer. And the designer, of course, is very, very grand, and decided we needed an exceptional dining experience in the apartment and insisted we get this beautiful large chandelier. So he picked out this beautiful chandelier. Beautiful chandelier. It had Murano glass, it had multiple lights, and then I saw the price. And I bit the bullet, we bought it, we put it up, and I have to tell you something, this dining room looks incredible. So the moment that chandelier went up above the dining table, all of a sudden we had this beautiful dining experience. And not only did this chandelier illuminate the dining area, it illuminated the entire living room. It illuminated the entire living room so much that we looked at it and said, we better step up the game here and get this entire apartment to look as good as this. So, thank you, designer, because then there were a few more checks after that, and I don't want to remember them. So the importance of home to me is obvious, right? As I think it is to all of us. There are 7.5 billion people in this world. 7.5 billion. And we have all one thing in common. We actually have quite a lot in common, but we don't like to talk about that. But I'm going to talk about the one thing that we do have in common. And that is we all need a home. Every one of us. From the moment we are born to the day we die, we all need a home. And the minute I acknowledge that little fact, because it's a huge fact, right? The minute I could acknowledge that is the minute I found true purpose in what we do in real estate. We actually have a very meaningful role in the lives of many, many people within our communities and around the country. We should never underestimate that. So when I think of this company, and I'm looking out at all these faces, and I'm thinking, what happened? 4 years later, I joined the company about 4 years ago, and I think we were that many people. And now we're thousands of people. We're approaching 4,000 people at Compass. Very impressive. 4,000 people, but I look at 4,000 people as 4,000 points of light, as if there were 4,000 bulbs in my chandelier. Amazing chandelier, right? And if you think about it, all of these lights have a tremendous purpose because they act in unison and they shine very brightly. And what we're doing is shining very, very brightly. Earlier today, I received an email, and I'm going to have to read here because I'm not as smart as everyone else in this team. Michael Sandak did some extraordinary work, and a client actually emailed us a lengthy email to point out how brilliantly he worked for him. He is an ambassador for himself of the best order because you can be certain this guy is telling all his friends. But here I am telling you, and he is an ambassador for all of us at Compass. So not only is he doing great work for himself, but he is doing great work for all of us, and we have to remember this in anything and everything that we do, that what we do matters for the entire company. People will buy into who you are because you believe in it. They will also buy into who you are, especially if you stop focusing on that one transactional moment. And I think we as a group really represent the best of that because we don't just think about that one transaction. We think about a long-term relationship, and the exact words that I wrote in this speech a few days ago, this client wrote in this letter and said, he was a trusted advisor, not a broker looking for a commission. We've arrived. So if we remain top of mind in the minds of all our clients and their friends and their networks, imagine how important we can be, not just for the transaction, but for so many touch points as it relates to home. That one element that binds 7.5 billion of us. We have to be vigilant as we grow on one thing specifically, and that is quality. We are already a group of outstanding agents, and we impact one another. We shine brightly together, but we have to be vigilant on this subject. There should be zero tolerance for ourselves and those around us for anything less than the best, because just like a good ambassador, there are bad ambassadors too. So we exist under this wonderful ecosystem called Compass, and all of us are here together to build this and make it better each and every single day. We are not there yet. We still have a long way to go to make it perfect. I don't think we'll ever reach perfection, but we're certainly going to try. Now imagine if we, as individuals and as a company, can do extraordinary work together. And we build this magnificent company. Already we've created a bit of a movement in an industry. But I believe by really shining, just like that chandelier in my dining room said to the rest of the apartment, you got to be better. We are going to impact an entire industry. So this is now my mission. This is my purpose. First and foremost, I want to thank each and every one of you in this room, everyone in this room and everyone around the country, whether you are cleaning our kitchens or greeting our people at the front door or running the company or doing what we do each and every day, which is Windexing tables and fixing light bulbs and chandeliers. I'm getting very corny, I'm sorry. But think about it. If we can do this collectively, if we obsess about quality, if we obsess about kindness, if we obsess about ethics and honesty, imagine what we're going to build. We have the people to do it, and great people make great companies. So please join me in my mission to not look at this as a career of transactions. Try look at this as a career of being a trusted advisor and a critically important ingredient in the lives of hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of people. We will be doing more than just the transaction. We will be trusted advisors. And I have a very clear vision, a very, very, very clear vision. It's clearer to me now than ever before. We are not just going to build a great company. We're going to impact an entire industry. And there will come a moment where people look at what we do and say, that is an honorable profession. Thank you. So I attempted to do this playing the piano, but it never happened, so thank you. So now, without any further ado, let me introduce to you the magnificent, the extraordinary, the brilliant, the lady who never stops working, the one and only Chief Operating Officer, Maëlle Gavet.
Good afternoon, campus. It's unbelievable. All right, so my name is Maëlle, and if I haven't met you, I'm your Chief Operating Officer. And if you're asking yourself, what exactly does a Chief Operating Officer do all day long? It's pretty simple. Every day when I come to the office with my team, I have one job: create the world's best experience for real estate agents. Yeah. And I'm very excited to be here because DC is a very special place for us at Compass. DC was the first market we went to after New York. We expanded here first. And in 3 years, this team has done an unbelievable work. In 3 years, this team built the #1 real estate brokerage in DC. And I want to thank them for that. 3 years of incredible results. Thank you so much. I also want to thank you for the few days that we're going to spend together because they put their soul into these things, and I think we're going to have an amazing time together. You know what, though? The DC team is not the only amazing team we have in this country. We have a lot of amazing teams all around the country. And thanks to all of you, we are on our path to sell more homes than any other brand in the United States. In 5 years, we became the 6th largest brokerage in this country. And we're going to keep growing. The number keeps going up and up and up. Now, if you've been at Compass for about 2 days, you probably know that at Compass, we don't settle for number 6. So these are good. They're going to get better. Now, when I travel the country and I talk to many of you, there is one question that keeps coming back. And the question is very simple. Why? Why are we doing that? Why do we keep growing? Why can't you just focus on what we already have and make it better? The reason why we want to continue to grow, the reason why we spend so much time doing that is because we believe that we will either grow or be outgrown. It's happening in every industry, not just real estate. Technology is accelerating the pace of every industry. In real estate alone, last year, $13 billion were invested in real estate technology. It's happening to us. When I worked at the Boston Consulting Group, I saw firsthand how retail and consumer incumbents just looked at what was passing by them and got disrupted. When I was at Priceline, I saw what travel agents and hotel chain did, which was not much. The industry was accelerating, and they felt like they were growing fast enough. We need to continue to grow. We have a choice. We can be Apple, or we can be BlackBerry. We can be Netflix, or we can be Blockbuster. I don't know about you, but I clearly know where I want to be. And we do not want to be in an industry that is defined by another company, because what's happening everywhere is that it's a winner-takes-most economy. One company emerges and creates the new standards. We do not want to be in an economy where the new standards are set by a startup that discounts agents' commission. We do not want we do not want to be in an industry where the standards are set by a brokerage that welcomes literally anyone. We don't want to be in an industry where another company defines and takes more and more away from agent, and as a result, degrades the service to customers. And we believe that we can be at the forefront. We're already there, but we need to keep running hard and fast to make sure that we are the ones who are defining the industry. Now, at Compass, we don't really play defense. And I know that a lot of you joined Compass because you didn't want to play defense at your previous brokerage. And so we're doing that together. We are changing the industry. Growth is the oxygen that allows us to define the industry. It's good for Compass as a whole, but it's good for your business too. When we're growing, we are building the industry largest referral network for you. Look at the people at your right and the people on your left. These are not, do this. These are not just the people you're going to be partying and drinking with in the next 3 days. I promise you, this can be the people who are going to bring you business. When we're growing, we are also building a globally recognized brand. Every agent that we're welcoming in Compass, every listing that we're adding, every real estate sign that we're planting, increase the brand of Compass, and as a result, yours as well. Think about a world where when you go and talk to a buyer or seller, you don't have any more to explain what Compass is. And they know that it means that you're the best because we select the best. As Robert mentioned, growing also allows us to build the single technology platform. The more people we have on this platform, the better the technology becomes because we can iterate. And imagine this platform where you have the best agents in the country at your fingertip. And we know what's working and what's not working. And you have all the stakeholders of the industry on that platform. Growth allows us to do that. Last but not least, growth allows us to recruit the world's most talented people. The best and brightest in this world want to come to companies that grow fast. We don't recruit a top engineer at Google, an executive at Spotify, or the most sought-after sales managers in the country if we're not growing. These people want to come to a company that grows. Now, do you know how many resumes we received since the beginning of the year? 38,000. 38,000 people applied to become an employee at Compass. It means that we hire about 1 in 1,000. This is harder to get a job offer from Compass than it is to get into Harvard. And so these best people are here to support you, to service you. And now we get through growth. Growth fuels growth. Growth helps us transform the industry. I'm going to be honest with you, though. Growth is difficult. Hypergrowth is painful. Before Compass, I was the CEO of the largest e-commerce company in Russia. And I experienced firsthand in my body what hypergrowth means. We were growing so fast that 2 Christmases in a row, I had to stand in the middle of a Russian warehouse and packing goods for our customers because we were growing so fast that we couldn't hire enough for a warehouse. And so I know what hypergrowth is, and I heard from you that you're worried about it. Hypergrowth, as I say, it's painful. Hypergrowth means that what was true yesterday is probably not working anymore today and will definitely not work tomorrow. And so every day we have to change things. Nothing is ever stable enough. And that requires a lot of work. But what I've seen also working with all these companies is that the company that not only survive but thrive in that hypergrowth environment do 2 things. Number 1, they are relentless on improving day after day the service they provide to their customers. And number 2, they are religious about the culture that they're building, and they fight to death to preserve it. And so what I want to finish talking to you about is our commitment to do exactly these 2 things: support and culture. So let's start with the support. So we've been growing a little, and we have more and more agents. And to help our agents, we recruited a lot. In the first quarter, the recruiting team at Compass recruited 330 people. That is more in 1 quarter than what we have hired in the entire 2017. And then on top of that, we also went after the best sales manager in the country. We hired 19 of them. And we hired them and we told them, the only thing that you need to do is to support agents. The only thing that we care about is for you to make sure that your agents are happy and they're growing, and you help them grow their business. You don't recruit agents. You don't recruit agents. You don't manage staff. Be what you're the best in the world at. Help agents grow their business. We did a few other things as well in the last quarter or so. We put together a training program for agents, Agent as CEO, the MBA of real estate. We are rolling out a mentorship program. I will talk about it a little later. We launched a recruiting agency to help you recruit your assistant. If you need an assistant, call Nolan in New York. He's here to help you. We put together a genius bar so that if you have 5 minutes to kill and you want to get up to speed on your collections, we're here for you. We have evolved more our technology and worked with the MLS to integrate the feeds, etc., etc., etc. Our commitment to you is that we will continue to improve every day the support that we provide to you to help you grow your business. Now let's talk about my favorite topic, and Robert's favorite topic too as well, actually, culture. And I do like this picture. Gordon, if you're here, that's an amazing picture. I think after you heard Robert 20 minutes ago, I think there is no doubt that culture is really at the core of this company, and we have values that unite us, and it comes from the top. It comes from Robert. We care infinitely about this culture that we're trying to build. We believe that culture is more important than production. Robert last year wrote an article for Forbes magazine where he explained exactly that. And so if you're a Compass agent, if you're sitting here today, you're here not because of your production. You are here because we believe that you fit our value, you fit the characteristic of a Compass agent. What does that mean? It means that you are ethical. It means that you're likable. It means that you're collaborative, that you're professional, and you're fully committed. And we care a lot about that. There are a lot of companies that talk a great deal about culture. They don't necessarily walk the talk. At Compass, we do. We are highly selective. We are known for high standards. Now, I do know, because I've talked to a few of you, that some of you are getting a little uncomfortable and a little worried because you believe that we're opening our doors wider. And the truth is, we are. We want to help everyone find their place in the world. And that makes us, at our core, in our DNA, an inclusive company. We need to be able to welcome not just $1 million plus producers. We need to be able to welcome the next generation, the rising stars, the people of tomorrow, the people that are going to replace you. We need to make sure that they're with us. Does that mean that we're relaxing our standards? No, it doesn't. We care a lot about that. These 5 characteristics that I talked about matters to us an awful lot. So we do a few things to make sure that while we're welcoming the next generation, we also make sure that they fit this criteria. Number 1 is vetting. I don't know if you know, but every month we refuse hundreds of requests from agents who want to join us. And then even when we say, okay, coming through the process, we're going to do the interview with you, we still say no to a lot of them. Since the beginning of the year, we have refused 158 agents that went through the entire vetting process. And at the end, we were like, no, not Compass agent. The way you can influence this company in the most direct way is by helping us with that vetting. A few months ago, I don't know if you remember, we launched a referral program, an agent referral program, and we asked you to give us recommendation. Please do so. This is how you can help us understand who is the next Compass agent for you. What I want to announce today is the next step in the vetting process. We want to get even better at the vetting process, and so Rob Lehman and his team are launching a new program. They're going to go in every single region, and they're going to talk with the agents in every office, and they're going to ask you, give us the list of the agents we need to select, and we need to welcome into Compass. With that, we will have a pre-vetted list, a list that you feel comfortable with, and you will know that these are the Compass agents of tomorrow, and you want to be with them. So that's the vetting. Now, I mentioned, yes, no, yeah, okay. I mentioned that we are welcoming rising stars. And so as we're welcoming rising stars, we need to take care of them. We need to help them become as good as you all are here. And so we're investing more and more in training and mentorship. So training, I talked about it before, Agent as CEO. We did a really successful test in New York and in LA. And we're now rolling out the Agent as CEO program, the real estate MBA program that we built with you across the entire country. We also understand that because we have industry veterans, we need to leverage that knowledge. And so we decided to launch a mentorship program where we're going to ask our industry veterans to help us welcome and groom the next generation, help these rising stars. In the next few weeks, we're going to go to the sales managers, and we're going to ask them to nominate an Asian ambassador in every office. And the role of the Asian ambassador would be to help us get the Asian as CEO program even better, make sure that we pair agents in the best possible mentorship way possible, and build the connection between all the Asians that we have across the country. And this ambassador program is something that I am personally very, very excited about and count a lot on our sales managers to implement. Now, so I talked about vetting, I talked about mentoring and training. Most of the time we get it right. Once in a while we get it wrong. And when we get it wrong, what do? We exit agents. And I don't know how much you know what we do when we exit agents. So in the last year, we have exited 110 agents with a GCI up to $3 million. I want to ask you, how many of you think that their previous brokerage would have had one of their executives standing on stage and telling you that they exited agents with up to $3 million GCI? No hand raised. All right. That's how much we care. That's how different we are. We want to make sure that the Compass agent remains as amazing as we mentioned it to you before. To do that, we are going to launch the Elevation program. And what is this about? It is about creating a culture of feedback for our agents. When we look at our employees, what we did with our employee group is we implemented the best practice of the leading companies across many industries, the Google, BCG, and Goldman Sachs of this world. And we did that because we believe that feedback is a way to get better, to grow professionally. We want to do the same thing for the Asian community. We want to put feedback at the center because we believe this is how we can help agents grow further. And it starts by telling you that if you see something, say something. If you have some feedback about another agent, go and talk to your sales manager. But that's not enough. And we want to do a few more things. Number one, we want to give you the opportunity to give feedback about the agent that you've just closed a deal with. And we want to give an opportunity to that agent to give you feedback as well. This feedback is just for you. You can decide to totally ignore it. We also understand that you're fighting really hard for every one of your deals, and your interest is to defend the interest of your client. At the same time, we believe that you can do that, fight for your client, and be ethical and likable and collaborative and professional and fully committed. And so that feedback is about this. The second thing that we are going to do is something that we have already applied with our employees. It's what we call a 360 feedback. So twice a year, the first time will be in July, we're going to give you the opportunity to nominate 5 agents and ask them for their feedback. We will anonymize the feedback. We will make it very simple. You won't have to spend a lot of time on it, filling it up for other agents. 5 agents, anonymize, and then we will communicate that to you and your sales manager, and your sales manager will be here to help you build a development plan. There's no ranking, no rating. Really, this is just for you to grow. And the third thing we're going to do is that we're going to train our sales managers to become these coaches that can take that feedback and help you be an even better version of yourself. We're also going to train them to identify faster who are the agents who are not a good culture fit and exit them, as we've done in the past. When you joined Compass, you trusted us. We believe that we owe it to you to help you grow. We believe that we owe it to you to elevate the profession. And we've already done a lot in terms of culture and talent, but we believe that this next steps about putting feedback at the core of the Asian community is really important. We believe that we can change the perception of an industry where anybody can be a real estate agent, where people believe that the bar is so low that anybody can be a real estate agent, and that anybody on the street can do the job that you're doing. We want to change that perception. We want to make sure that the next generation of college graduates will be really hesitating between having a career in investment banking, being a lawyer, or actually becoming a real estate agent. And we believe it's possible to do that with you. We want to create a different kind of real estate brokerage. Now, I've definitely been completely over time. Julie must be screaming in the back room. I just want to say a couple more words. This company is amazing. This is the best company I've ever worked for. And and the momentum is unbelievable. We are a 3-digit revenue company, and our growth rate is still 3-digit. You know how many companies today in the world have this kind of momentum? Probably about 10, not much more than that. We are changing the way real estate is doing business. We are winning. We're winning together. And I am so, so excited to do that with all of you. I feel it's a privilege to be working with all of you. And so together, we're going to win. And I'm telling you, I promise you, I will be working with my team really hard every day. We're going to build this once-in-a-generation company that Robert talked about. Thank you so much. So now I want to introduce someone that I've been working very closely with over the last year and a half. She is our director of finance, and she is amazing. And her name is Samantha. Sam Lynch, please go ahead.
This is a historic moment in real estate. Never in the history of the industry have agents had the opportunity to be equity owners. There have been profit-sharing models, but getting a piece of the profit you bring in is not the same as being a true owner in a company. Maëlle talked about elevating the profession. To me, ownership embodies that. For our Compass employees, the opportunity to be equity holders in a company showing triple-digit growth on triple-digit revenue is truly unique. We are breathing rarefied air here at Compass, even among the best tech companies in the world. After the SoftBank investment, which valued Compass at $2.2 billion, agents came to us asking if there was a way that they could participate more directly in the continued success of the company. We created a program with agent feedback so that agents and employees could participate. The agent program, for example, gave agents the opportunity to trade commission income for equity. Agents could trade $1 in commission income for $1.20 in equity. When we first launched this program in January, we thought if we were really successful, Compass agents would purchase $1 million in equity. I am thrilled to tell you that Compass agents purchased over $20 million in equity. I am also proud to announce that 829 agents participated. That is a fourth of our agent community. While a fourth of our agents are now equity owners, 2/3 of our employees are equity owners. People have asked, why does this matter? We are a company of entrepreneurs, building for entrepreneurs. Building is not easy. Being an entrepreneur is not easy. When I am in the office late at night, I look around and I see people working very hard to build this company and create a better future. The opportunity to be an equity owner in Compass is the opportunity to reap the benefits in helping to build Compass. Now, let's talk a little bit about the value of being an owner. First, let me give you a historical view. If you invested $100,000 in Compass when it was first founded, today that would be worth $2.5 million. That is 25 times your money. Some of the best investments in the world have not delivered 25 times your money. Now, let's talk about the future. Today, Compass is valued at $2.2 billion. When we get together with our board, we talk about forward-looking scenarios. If you invested $100,000 now in Compass, and we reached a $5 billion valuation, let's say a year from now, it would be worth over $200,000, over double your money. Pretty good return. Well, let's look at what it would be worth if Compass reached a $60 billion valuation. $2.7 million. 60 billion might sound like a pie-in-the-sky number to you, but this is a $75 billion gross commission income market in the US alone, before title, escrow, or mortgage. 20% share of that $75 billion market would mean $18 billion in annual gross commission income. 20% market share is our plan. $18 billion in annual revenue would warrant a $60 billion valuation, even at conservative revenue multiples. When I tell people I work at finance at Compass, the question I get most is, when are you going to IPO? People ask that because they think of an IPO as a one-time wealth creation moment where equity can become cash. What's great about Compass is that we've been able to provide the opportunity to sell equity in the private market through a tender or secondary offering. Over the past 5 years, over $100 million in equity has been sold by agents, employees, and early-stage investors. We are delighted to have been able to provide that opportunity to generate cash. But what excites me more is that in the last secondary offering, over 70% of owners chose not to sell. They, like me, share our vision. They are excited, not by what we have achieved in the past, but by what we have yet to achieve, and what that could mean for the owners of Compass. This is about more than just a financial return. I am honored to be part of a company with the opportunity to create a future where equity can be college tuition, a retirement plan, or a down payment on a home. We are creating that future together. Now, I'd like to invite Matt Spangler, our Chief Creative Officer, to talk about that future.
Hey, Sam. No, you're good. All right, I'm going to bring it home, Compass. So, growing up as a boy in Atlanta, I remember shooting baskets in the front yard with my father. It was always the place he gave me advice. And I remember he told me one time, Matt, to live a complete life, you got to be true to yourself. But you also have to be a part of something bigger than yourself. He was a doctor, and he had an enormous appetite for self-improvement. He taught himself to draw and design stained glass windows breed orchids and speak French. And his drive is in me, always wanting to be better. When I imagine the Compass brand, that was the vision. To build a system for our agent entrepreneurs that could empower individuality, flexibility, and quality, while still creating a consistency that would communicate togetherness, something bigger. That's why when agents join the company, I say, welcome to the family. In a time when your clients are demanding more than ever from you, we're building the tools to help you show them that you're at the forefront. We started with a timeless, minimalist design system that would build a sophisticated black and white frame around the best agents and listings. And we fill that frame with something of the best imagery the industry has ever seen. We've built a community of photographers and videographers, 3D artists and animators that feel a pride in creating for Compass. And we're investing in technology and team so that we can be ahead of how people tell their stories today so that you can be better at telling yours. Now, we've powered electric car charging stations in Barney's. We've brought the agent experience to an ice rink in Los Angeles. And across 100 offices in some of the most luxurious zip codes in America, from Highland Park to the Hamptons, we're bringing our brand to life in ways that make it present in people's minds, but also easy to use in our agents' hands. Now, with Marketing Center, we're developing technology to remove the friction from marketing. Today, you can develop postcards, show sheets, brochures, even social media assets in minutes. But it's just the beginning of the path to assist your entire workflow. And I'm excited to announce that this month, we will be launching in Marketing Center more customizable listing presentation. In June, email newsletter campaigns that you'll be able to send with the push of the button, straight from Marketing Center. And early this summer, an automated digital marketing platform that will help you reach sellers and buyers that love you and your listings. Now, it's a lot to be proud of, but we've got to push further. And I'm here today to share with you the world that I see when I dream big. It's a world where the Compass agents are, again, some of the most respected and admired professionals in any industry, where the entire industry itself is elevated, where the power and value that you provide your clients is crystal clear. And we're working every day to define that future, not just react to it. Our competitors have a lot of negative things to say, but we don't invest in hate. We invest in the future of the industry. We invest in our 3,500 agents. And years from now, I still see our messages focused on the power of positivity and passion and love. As I look out to the industry, there are others who have paved our path. Sotheby's. It's a globally recognized name. It's historic. It's an exquisite and considered brand of the past. Compass will be historic one day too. An exquisite and considered brand of the future. And that is what I'm focused on. That's what I'm focused on, the future. The future of the brand I see is all-encompassing. It's not just a tagline or a typeface. It's every interaction you have with your clients, a world-class experience across the app, your marketing, the offices, and even the for sale sign. Now why? The for sale signs are fine. Well, the Urban Compass name was fine. And fine is one of my least favorite words. When you think of the compass sign, I want you to reimagine what you think of when you think of a sign. I see Lyft and the dashboard of cars glowing with a color to match my phone. I see the Disney Magic Band unlocking content and experiences throughout the park. I see an iconic new design. I see proximity sensors that trigger beacons that communicate with the Compass app, and a system of interconnected devices with partners reinventing the home. I see a light that's not just a clip-on, but a smart sensor that's actually maximizing power efficiency and environmental impact and engaging people to draw them in. I see, I see 1 million compass signs in yards glowing around the world, all communicating with each other. Helping manage open houses, delivering neighborhood insights, and providing real value to sellers. That's what we're building. The signs have been fine for 50 years. All of you know it. That's right. All of you know it. And the future of the brand I see is one where Compass is defined by that same kind of self-improvement that my father taught me. I see it from Times Square to Tokyo, from London to San Francisco, from Mumbai to Dubai. The wealthiest collection of clients accessing the biggest exclusive network of off-market luxury properties in the world, a whole different trading market exclusive to Compass technology. I see our app on the home screen of 1 billion phones. Our brand mentioned in the same breath with Amazon and Apple, Tesla, Mercedes, Nike, and Chanel, and Spotify, the innovative company our CMO, Karim Malik, just came from. I see a Saturday in the park with the family. And they decided to stop by the Compass Guidance Center. It's easy, because it's an open-air facility with bike paths and trails running through it, built to integrate with the cities we love, based on the best in urban planning and design. Compass agents walk in with their clients, and they can see the entire activity of the network in real time, around the globe. Open houses happening in real time, and sales happening that second. Entire network of Compass data available at your fingertips. Apple used to be called crazy for creating stores. But the genius thing about the Genius Bar is that it creates a friendly, inviting space where people who don't understand something complex can come in and get the help they need. When we're connecting a global community, think about how we're able to guide people through some of those complicated decisions in their lives. When we're 1 million agents strong around the world, just think of the stories we'll be able to tell about how we're helping everyone find their place in the world. I see a time when you just utter the word compass, from Shanghai to Scranton, and people think of home and they think of all of you before they ever think of that ancient navigation device. I was reminded of that advice my father gave me a couple weeks ago in a San Diego conference room, where I met with an agent named Ann Schreiber. In 2008, Ann was a school teacher and her husband was a lifeguard. When the recession hit, they endured pay cuts from the city. Couldn't afford daycare for their 2 kids, so Ann had to quit that job to take a new one that would allow her to keep her kids with her after school. The owners of their house had to take it back as they couldn't afford the payments because it was underwater. 40 years old. She had no home, no prospects. She just had hope. Her father was there to help. He threw a line into the water to pull him back to shore. He'd buy a house, and they could rent it. During the process, she met a realtor. Let's just say the person did just a fine job. Well, at the end, Ann turned to her father and said, I think I can do better. He said, sure can. First year, Ann sold 5 houses, and 15, and 36. Last year, she sold 60 houses. She got a team of 6. She's one of the most successful agents in San Diego. And as a founding agent at Compass, she's putting it all on the line again, taking a chance, a company, and a brand that she thinks can provide her family a better life. That is being a part of something bigger than myself. And I want to thank Ann and all of you for helping me be a part of that. Now, we heard Sam tell you how we're reimagining what it's like to be a true owner at Compass. Mael told you how by improving ourselves, we open up our community by giving each other feedback. Leonard talked about how we can elevate the entire industry by becoming one Compass family. And Robert talked about how we can not just meet, but exceed our mission and vision by following the entrepreneurial principles of the greatest entrepreneurs. 3 years ago this month, we launched the Compass brand as you all know it. Just 3 years. I am here to tell you today you ain't seen nothing yet. Thank you.